Hi there, welcome. City Teramoto here, and I wanted to just be sure that you got the information on the stress bucket. And this is, I think, an important concept, a helpful concept in the past of when working with people and for myself to understand that within us, there's only so much stress that we can handle. Some people like to call that the stress bucket, so we're going to go with that idea. And let me just do a little share screen and explain it from here. Okay. So here basically is our stress bucket. Um, it's a little tricky because I'm never quite sure what we're seeing. This is a concept here. I'm just going to go with it. I hope you're seeing what I think you're seeing. So the idea is that within all of us, there's a bucket of certain stressors or so much stressors that we can handle. And that on any given day, any given moment, the level of stress can go up or down depending on what you're experiencing. So some of the things that add to our stress might be things here like work, illness, negative feedback, unplanned events coming up that will increase the stress level. And then there's other things that will decrease the stress level, and that might be um, playing music if you like music, laughing, hanging out with friends, doing anything that brings you joy, meditation, exercise, things like that lower your stress level. Now, two other important concepts, and that would be the buffer zone. That's the space from between your current your level of stress and the rim, the top of the bucket. Um, this is the buffer zone or the space that you have to deal with the unexpected thing. And the second concept that's important is overflow. So a lot of times people will say, like, I have anxiety, and they think that's the problem and that's a stressor in their bucket. When anxiety is an overflow response, it's a response to you having too much stuff in your stress bucket. Getting sick is also an overflow, can be an overflow response, as well as losing self-control, snapping, screaming, things like that. Um, Physical decline, that's another good one. So these are the different components to the stress bucket. And I want you to kind of take a little bit, take a breath. Take a little bit to kind of think about your stress bucket. And what does your stress bucket look like? I'm going to open a couple of other screens here. This one here talks about, kind of shows better the stress bucket concept. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. The stress bucket concept here of having a buffer zone. So are you someone who generally your stress level kind of hangs out around maybe 40% here, a little bit below half? Or are you someone who your normal stress level, you start off in the morning, there's so much in your bucket, and you're already starting off at like 80 or 90% with a very small buffer zone? Okay, think about it. Remember, this is all about self-awareness, and that's the start of our change. Yeah. So we just got to know, are we someone who generally hangs out at the top? Or if we have habits and practices that help us to stay to give ourselves a bigger buffer zone. That's not what I wanted to do. I should go back here. This particular sheet is going to be helpful for you to do as homework. And in kind of thinking about what's causing your stress or adding to the bucket. Yeah, stress doesn't always have to be bad. It can be exciting things. Having a graduating college, having a baby, maybe getting married, things like that can be stressful. but something people look forward to. So stress isn't always bad. Yeah. So think about that. What things are in your bucket? What are some of the symptoms that you've experienced that you're not in the relaxed zone, but you're in the stress zone, or maybe even in the overflow zone? Yeah. And figuring out what activities make you feel better. This in our SHINE system, in the SHINES system, would be the emotional regulation. How do you regulate your emotions? How do you manage your emotions? And your level of stress is all connected to emotional regulation. This is a helpful worksheet to understand that the things that we do literally change the chemicals that are produced in our brain. So I thought this was really fun to take a look at, that the chemical serotonin, which is a mood stabilizer, is activated when we're outside in nature, when we're getting a massage, when we're doing breathing exercises, practicing gratitude, and doing aerobic exercises. Endorphins, something that helps us to kill pain or lower pain levels. Endorphins are activated or created when we laugh, when we do creative activities, when we do random acts of kindness, or taking a hot bath. Okay. Taking a cold bath has its advantages as well. So this one is taking a hot bath. Dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It's a feel-good chemical. And it gets stimulated and produced when we celebrate success, when we get enough sleep, when we are practicing mindfulness or meditation, listening to music, or getting in the sun. And then oxytocin. Oxytocin is this like love hormone that makes you feel connected to people. Oxytocin is what gets produced when moms breastfeed, so they can bond, babies and moms can bond. The same chemical gets produced when you practice yoga, when you hug and cuddle, when you pet a dog or cat and tell someone how much you care, or you spend time with friends. So there's, doing a mix of these things to help produce these feel-good chemicals really can help to lower your level of stress in your bucket. That would be more of like an output or a puka in your bucket. So keep that all in mind. And let me just stop sharing here. All right. So yes, that's going to be part of our emotional regulation, is to actually it's two things. It's the I for the inner world. It's having your own self-awareness of where your stress bucket, where your level is, how big your buffer zone is. At pretty much any given time, remember that you're the adult here. Yeah, I am not working with kids by design on purpose. I'm not working with people who are dependent on others for their survival, because you are someone who is a full-fledged adult. You can make your own decisions, and it is important that you start parenting yourself, and that you start being the best parent to yourself that you can be. And that's going to be mindful about how you're feeling and where your stress level is at. Right? Doing that will also help with your emotional regulation. So being mindful, being self-aware, taking the extra time out, taking an extra walk, all of that is going to be tied to you being aware and being cognizant of your stress level. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that gives kind of a good visual, and I'd love to hear any comments or kind of where you're at. And overall, the work that we do together should lower your level, your kind of usual level of stress in your stress bucket. Yeah. If we're doing the silence every day, practicing centered silence, and we're doing practice of gratitude or some kind of happiness thoughts, happiness practice, these two, remember, are an emotional regulation technique, and have been known and do, and in my experience, absolutely 100% helps people to lower their level of stress in their bucket. Okay. But I'd love to hear your experiences, thoughts, questions, shares, and I look forward to talking to you later. Hope that was helpful. Aloha.